I am back from Bitcoin Amsterdam. I've got my Ordinal Maxi Biz BitAxe. My runes bags are up. My Ordinals bags are up. So are yours. We've had multiple giant raises in the Bitcoin liquid staking game. And of course, we have had some drama around Mempool.space. But before we get into that, a word from our sponsor. Bitcoin Season 2 is brought to you by Botanix. Botanix Labs is pioneering a new direction for DeFi with the first EVM L2 running on Bitcoin that's built to be forward secure, decentralized, and share gas fees generated by the network with users. See the future of DeFi at Botanix, botanixlabs.xyz. So welcome back to Bitcoin Season 2. This is the Monday live stream where I hit the metrics, the updates. It's a little visual heavy, so if you are listening to it, I recommend going over to the live stream video on demand on X or the YouTube channel. Otherwise, I'll try to describe what happens here. So I've got my OMB BitAxe, this custom badass little like desk Bitcoin miner. You may have been seeing some of these online. You can check these out. This is a really cool initiative under the OMB brand to decentralize mining and kind of show people and the community how this works. Go check out the Mining Pod, another podcast from Blockspace Media, where we talk about the BitAxe. And we did a writer's room episode a few weeks ago, me and Colin kind of chatting through the topic of like mining and hash rate and home mining. But before we get there, let's just jump right into it. It's been kind of a doozy of a week. If you've been trying to use the Bitcoin blockchain, you've seen that fees went from like 2 to 3 sats per VByte. The mempool almost cleared. But activity on chain is back up. And I know if I zoom out here and I look at like a month of like, this is kind of like what the average mempool might look like from as far as transactions waiting in. It might not look like much, but this represents a significant influx in block space demand. And what are these people doing? They are minting runes. So look at this. Runes market cap is back above $1 billion. In fact, I think it might be higher than that now. We are seeing significant volume, at least comparatively, millions of dollars in volume. We have volume up, I think, 3 or 4 times on the week. And Magic Eden, again, leads the pack with 60% of all volume. OKX still doing quite a bit. Like, depending on the day, OKX might flip Magic Eden in terms of volume. And it's kind of, we've got some new rune tickers. Casey himself actually tweeted that he thinks the runes tickers are getting better. So watch out. Keep your finger on the dial if you want to do degen for whatever Casey might like. And of course, look at this. This is the 7-day view of runes. Dog is up 30%. $1 billion cat pups up significantly on the week. Decentralized, Lobo, other random stuff. Waddle Bottle Penguin or Cold Blooded Chiller. You've got Wanko. Everything is up. So you do love to see that. Lastly, let's take a look and see that your collections are up. Puppets and Node Monks are kind of in this like neck and neck race right now for so they're both 10,000 piece collections, and they're kind of in a race for who takes the lead on the like largest collection by market cap. So right now Puppets are slightly ahead with 0.182 for the floor, Node Monks 0.177 for the floor. But you see OMB, Puppet Maxi Biz caught a bid this week. Quantum Cats have stayed flat, and Taproot Witches are up. There's way more. I won't go into the exact collections because I think let's just get into this. Despite the mempool, that is mempools around the Bitcoin network filling up with transactions and fee rates, we saw Mempool.space, which is the most famous transaction and blockchain explorer that I use. I think most other people in the Bitcoin space use. They put out this tweet to just I think 1.5 days ago that says, to clarify some FUD going around, the Mempool open source project does not support, quote, or daemon integration. Mempool.space only displays data contained in Bitcoin's mempool and blockchain from the Lightning Network. This means that if you look up a transaction that contains ordinals, Inscriptions are runestones. This data will be visible on Mempool.space exactly as it exists on Bitcoin's blockchain. We are Bitcoin only and do not support shit coins. But if it's in the Mempool or on the blockchain, it will be visible on Mempool.space, since displaying the blockchain is literally what a Bitcoin Explorer does. Where did this come from? Well, recently, Mempool.space started showing if a transaction contained a rune in it. You can click on these goggles and you can see if a transaction contains an inscription or a rune. Look, this block is clean. It has no evil JPEGs or runes in it currently. This block, oh no, it has. It looks like it has both an inscription and looks like it does have a runestone and an inscription. So it's the worst of both worlds. Regardless, Mempool.space started showing this, and it made some people mad. If we go back here, we see Luke Dash Jr., the infamous Luke, with reiterating a position he's had a very long time, which is ordinals, inscriptions, and runestones are not Bitcoin and do not exist on Bitcoin's blockchain. Well, what happened is the ordinals community overall wanted to say, hey, folks who think like this, you might call them laser eyes, we like this feature on Mempool.space. We are power users of this platform. And so we want to support this financially because this is really, really helpful for open source projects to display the contents of what is happening on chain. So this turned into kind of a race to see who could do individual sponsorships at various comparatively high price tiers. The whale sponsorship, which is now comprised of almost entirely like JPEG and explicitly endorsing inscription people, this tier is 0.03. That's several $1,000s. The Chad sponsors Disclosure I'm One, same thing, a few $100s. So we see now that the community has, in response to a handful of I would say some notable hardcore Bitcoiner criticism, has responded and say, we want to support this platform. It's a really good platform. And I would like just to compare. Here I took a screenshot from the Wayback Machine. So I went back to, I believe, December of 2023 and just looked at who, the sponsors on Mempool.space. And you can see here that there was not that many. There is basically a little over a dozen different individuals here who are financially sponsoring Mempool.space as of 9 months ago. Well, now this number has grown significantly, and I think by the end of the week it's going to grow even more. You can see here new companies, explicitly ordinal endorsing companies, Leather and Taproot Wizards, on this list. So these are enterprise sponsors, and then I won't even get into the OG sponsors, but this has been the subject of a bit of drama, and I'm going to pull up this account, which is a Bitcoin wallet called Mana Wallet or Mana Bitcoin, which is an yet to be launched Lightning wallet that will let you do normal Lightning and Bitcoin wallet things. And they claimed we have decided to terminate our support of Mempool.space. We don't believe our values are aligned. We want to do our best to support developers that are more in line with our goals. Wish them best with their runes and stuff or whatever. And Hootie says, just curious, how much capital did you support Mempool with before you terminated your support? And this wallet, which has not released a product, nor has financially supported Mempool.space, says they were just using Mempool.space's API and or linking to them. So I don't really know if that constitutes supporting Mempool. It's just more like integrating their free API and front-end website while the rest of us are supporting. And I know this is me. I'm obviously very biased here. I have opinions, but I have been a power user of Mempool.space, as many of you viewers are here. And this is a great example about kind of the changing current and feel of who are Bitcoin users and who is like prominent and driving Bitcoin discourse and activity. So that's the mempool. What about meme coins? Yes, I know maybe you don't want to hear about meme coins. Maybe you're tired of this. Maybe you are tired of hearing about this guy named Murad, but I do think it's important because he is kind of like the driver of like discourse of meme coins and shit coins, if you want to call it that. And he's been and so everything that he says goes viral right now. And he's even commented on some meme coins which are on Bitcoin, which I think is very interesting because it means that the streams are crossing, and now that the broader like non-Bitcoin discourse is now coming back to Bitcoin, I think this is pretty important.
This is my core argument, and this is probably one of the most important slides in my presentation, right? Ready? Meme coins are not a vampire attack against crypto tech. Meme coins are a vampire attack against crypto tech tokens. That's a big difference here. You understand? So I love technology and I'm all for decentralization. I've been supporting thousands of different things in crypto since 2014.
So anyway, his point is that meme coins are basically the rejection of the VC coin retail exit liquidity thesis. And that, this is a funny picture, and that meme coins are much more aligned with Bitcoin in his view, because they are very much like honest about what they are. And so I would love to talk to Murad here on Bitcoin Season 2. I anticipate being able to at least get some insight from him about what he thinks about this discourse as applies to Bitcoin. But I think this is really, really important because we have now the confluence of meme coins and viral like culture-driven transactions on Bitcoin from the perspective of ordinals and runes and inscriptions. These are now like the dominant users by transaction fees and by block space use for Bitcoin. I mean, I'll amend that, maybe not by transaction fees, but by like marginal buyer of block space, certainly over the past year. So this is something I'll be monitoring pretty closely. And if you don't enjoy this, I hate to break it to you, I'm probably going to talk about this a lot over the next year. So let's get into other topics. One thing I found really interesting is Signal 21 put out a new dashboard today. If you're not familiar, Signal 21, you can go to signal21.io. They're kind of like another emerging kind of like blockchain analytics platform. They focus mainly on layer 2s, but they put out a piece or a new dashboard on developer activity by Bitcoin layer 2s. Now, I want to make a big caveat that I don't think their methodology is very representative of reality here, but it at least gets really close. Or not close. It at least is directionally correct and interesting because you can look at different layer 2s, such as Blockstream's Liquid, Stacks, Rootstock, CoreDAO, Babylon Chain. Again, I'm using the term layer 2 here, pretty hand wavy. But they are tracking commits on the across the various repos. They're tracking the number of developers who are subscribed, or I believe maybe have pushed commits to each repo. I think that can be very misleading. That might not be like the active developers in the ecosystem, but might just be developers who are like watching those repos. And it tells you like month on month changes. So this is very interesting. And I think really important to watch because one of the main narratives each cycle is like, what are the devs doing? Where are they going? Where's the developer activity happening? And this is going to be an important metric to try to track insofar as we can. Let's see. Other news. I hinted at this, but we saw a significant amount of money raised this past week in the Bitcoin liquid staking game. I think this is the other major narrative happening right now across the Bitcoin Season 2 world, which is you've got idle capital in the form of the proof of work generated Bitcoin token. Well, let's put that to work. We can lock Bitcoin up in various types of Bitcoin script or Bitcoin locking mechanisms, and we can slash it according to oracles and off-chain rules. We can use that proof of work generated token to solve some of the issues and structural problems with the proof of stake system. I did an interview with David Say of Babylon Chain about this, but you're seeing kind of on top of the Babylon Chain ecosystem, you are seeing various types of additional staking layers. I did an interview with Luke Xie of SatLayer, but now you've got Solve Protocol raising $25 million for a staking abstraction layer. They say that they have 20,000 or about 1.3 billion, 20,000 Bitcoin, about 1.3 billion US dollars TVL, 400,000 users. They use things like there's no native yield on Bitcoin despite its large $1 trillion market cap, and they want to introduce a staking abstraction layer. I haven't done any due diligence on this, but this is like a huge raise, and I think we're starting to see like this the amount of money coming in start to dwarf like activity, previous like fundraising for like Bitcoin software type activity. This is pretty significant. What else? We see Yalla.org announced that they had a seed round for 8 million led by Polychain and Ethereal Venture Capital to build a quote liquidity layer for Bitcoin. It's a 3 times oversubscribed round. Galaxy was in this, Hashkey, Amber Group, ABCDE, UTXO Management, like kind of the names of like people who write checks into the broader crypto ecosystem now looking at Bitcoin staking. They have 2,000 BTC committed from investors, and they will be launching a testnet soon. I think these are major narratives in the Bitcoin, just in the overall Bitcoin ecosystem, because regardless of what you think about Bitcoin staking, this is clearly hugely attractive to venture and capital at large. As if you were to compare like the overall ecosystem grants for Bitcoin or like raises in Bitcoin prior to this, 25 million from Solve is like massive. And we saw like, I think I'm ballparking here, 3 or 4 out of the top 5 largest raises in the Bitcoin like software ecosystem going to Bitcoin staking. Babylon, I think, raised 75 million this past year. So huge narrative going on in the venture landscape in Bitcoin. And it's all around this idea of Bitcoin is the pristine asset and pristine collateral asset. Well, enough about that. I think it's time to talk about Op Next. If you are not going to Op Next, you should have this on your radar. This is Blockspace's conference about it's a scaling conference for Bitcoin builders, developers, and founders in Boston, Massachusetts. This November 9th is a Saturday. It's one day only. We have many speakers at this conference, which there are now more than we can list on the website pretty quickly. We've got Peter Todd. You may know him as the person HBO named as Satoshi. He's not, but he's coming. Armin and Ethan, the co-authors of the OpCat BIP. John Attack, another very important contributor to Bitcoin Core. Reardon, Brandon from Swan and author of L Enhance. Rindell of the Taproot Wizards. Pete Rizzo, Bitcoin historian. We have Rusty Russell of Blockstream and behind the Great Script Restoration. We have Jeremy Rubin, author of CTV. And we will have many more people coming out. I would make sure you are paying attention to our social media at Blockspace Pod. You can check out the tickets we have for sale. We have a VIP ticket available. It is almost sold out at $750. If we have a GA ticket, again, those are readily available. And for students with a valid student ID at the door, $25. If you're listening to this, I will give you a discount code. So get out your notepad. This is just for if you made it this far in the stream. Use discount code October, all caps, one word, October, OCTOBER, for 25% off your GA ticket purchase to Op Next. You don't want to miss this conference. If you are a company or an individual interested in the technical side of Bitcoin and the discourse around potential Bitcoin scaling paths, proposals, and activation discussion, this is the conference you want to be at. I think this is one that you cannot miss. We're going to have, we will be live streaming it, but it's not going to really be able to replace being there in person. Yeah, so thank you very much for listening to Bitcoin Season 2. I'm Charlie Spears. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check us out on social media at BTCSZN2 on Twitter. And make sure to review us, give a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. And make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Otherwise, see you all